Hey gang, it's JC and this is your Daily Dose for Friday, June 25th, 2010. A cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. You can subscribe to the audio of the Daily Dose on iTunes over there. Dave Murray's weather forecasts are right over there, and we are twisted by the pool here again because somebody at the radio station said, let's pay him for 15 months. Let's pay him through March of next year, his full salary, and not make him come to work. Can you say day? All right, Eagles Dixie Chicks last night at Busch Stadium. How about that buzz cut, Natalie Maines, huh? Removing one of the only reasons that a lot of guys probably went to the show thinking, well, they were sort of half hot. Maybe I'll go and see the opening act. And instead, Natalie Maines comes out on stage looking like a homeless trucker. Here is the contents of the conversation that was going on between me and Carl last night. Carl was at the show. I was swimming here in the pool. So you know what an octave is. If you're singing one of these nights, one of these nights. But if you lower the octave, it's like one of these nights, because it's easier to sing, particularly as you get older and your voice is shot. So Carl sends me a text that says the band is singing one octave lower, maybe two. My response, that's for all the people who only paid half price to get in. Carl, Glenn Fry just said, who likes country rock in Missouri? He says, at least I give him credit for saying Missouri and not Missouri. And my response was, yeah, as in, how come we didn't sell more tickets to this thing? Now, the one good thing about the show is Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh has always been cool. He's cool now. He'll be cool until the day he dies. And when he visits St. Louis, he is able to hook up with one of his best friends of all time, and that's our buddy Bob Heil over in Marissa, Illinois. Now, Bob Heil has been instrumental. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When you go up to Cleveland, there's a little display there of some microphones and amps and things like that. You know, back in the 60s and the 70s, rock and roll was excelling, and it was moving along faster than the technology was able to keep up with. Bob Heil was the guy working with The Who and the Grateful Dead and lots of bands who, through his technological breakthroughs, figured out ways to push this sound for these larger and larger crowds. And he's still doing it now, still keeping pace with the technological needs of rock and roll. And Joe Walsh and Bob became very, very good friends. And a couple of times a year, Bob has told me that Joe Walsh just comes and stays with him at the house. So if you're driving around Marissa, Illinois, and a guy goes by in a car or shows up at the Walmart, and you're like, damn, that guy looks like Joe Walsh, chances are it really is Joe Walsh. All right, let's talk a little baseball. I've said this before, I'll say it again. You know, Adam Wainwright got hit with the shards of a broken bat last night, and it's only going to be a matter of time before somebody is killed by these new ash bats, okay? The bats are being manufactured a different way with different materials now the last few years. The way a bat used to break is you would swing, and if it broke, the shards of the bat would just sort of fly off in different directions. The ash bats are lighter, but they break easily. When they break right at the handle. So a lot of times when a ball player swings and breaks an ash bat, really 90% of the bat goes helicoptering, and because it breaks in a different way, instead of breaking at the point of contact and then going out on the field somewhere, the barrel, and really, like I said, 90% of the bat goes helicoptering into the crowd. It's only a matter of time before somebody is killed or seriously injured. You know, your best buddy goes to the ball game and shows up at work the next day with a giant piece of bat coming on his forehead. You'll know and you'll remember what I said here. All right, this Justin Bieber. You pretty much can't go anywhere without seeing this kid, teen heartthrob. Well, it turns out his mother is 34 years old. She had him when she was only 18 years old, and she has now been offered $50,000 to pose nude in Playboy. Now, I've seen this woman, and I would describe her as just sort of so-so. But you know, all the guys are wondering if the mom has that same swirly hair thing going on. Well, I think you know what I mean. Jason Bateman has evolved into a pretty damn good actor. He was in Juno, and he was really good in that. He's been in other stuff, too. And yesterday, he shows up at the Apple store in Los Angeles, and security people and representatives of the store whisk him past the crowd, the people who've been standing in line since like Wednesday afternoon, and they bring him in, and they bring him into the store so he can get his new iPhone, and everybody starts booing. Well, it's not his fault. Besides, if you got connections, And in his case, the connection is that his sister Justine Bateman is working as a cashier in the store. I just snorted. All right, let's talk about I'm Just Saying on Channel 5. As you know, I'm not a fan. You got that country hog who shows up in a t-shirt, and when he is talking, he does this. He makes his points by doing this. And furthermore, here's what I think. And then you got that old lady from U City. When she talks, she does this. She goes and folds her arms. And, if you say the number 2 in your commentary, you have to hold up 2 fingers. And people are waving their arms around like Stu Kleitenic, and with all these stupid 1976 PM magazine gestures. And it tells you a couple of things. 2 things primarily. Number 1, Channel 5 is a shitty producer making these things. And number 2, your content isn't compelling enough. Because if you have to do all that waving of your arms all over the place, it means that what you're saying isn't written well enough, you're not making your point, and it's just not compelling enough. You don't see Andy Rooney doing that. You don't see Nancy Giles doing that on CBS Sunday Morning. The pieces are a joke. All right, speaking of TV, you have to watch out what you watch this weekend because you got all these stupid Michael Jackson tributes all over the place. But tomorrow night, Saturday night on TV Land, something probably worth your time, a tribute to director Mike Nichols. Now, this is the guy who made The Graduate, Silkwood, The Birdcage. Very underrated movie with Clive Owen, Natalie Portman, and Julia Roberts called Closer. Not The Closer, Closer. All right? So you're going to have Jack Nicholson at this thing, Al Pacino, Meryl Streep, Julia Roberts, Dustin Hoffman, and Tom Hanks. That's not a bad show. That is Saturday night on TV Land. All right, speaking of Michael Jackson, everywhere you go now this weekend, every time you turn on the TV, you watch a soccer game and halftime is a tribute to Michael Jackson. It's a big pain in the ass. So without further ado, I will now sing my tribute to the passing of Michael Jackson. He's out of my life. He's out of my life. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Your ex-wife, Debbie Rowe, sort of looks like a huge guy. It's been a year since you had life. He's out of my life. All right, Toy Story 3. You're going to go see it? Have you seen it already? Here's some random facts on Toy Story 3, the movie that is sweeping the country. Toy Story 3 producer Darla K. Anderson is the namesake for the character Darla in Finding Nemo. 17 animators worked on Toy Story 3, also worked on Toy Story 2, 17 of them. They did 92,000 storyboards for this thing. There are more than 300 stickers in Andy's room. The pins on the map in Andy's room correspond to the hometowns of Toy Story 3's production staff. Hidden in Andy's bedroom is a hint at a new character in next year's Cars 2. The character of Andy is voiced by John Morris, the same actor who voiced Andy in the original films. He's 26 now, and in honor of Toy Story 3, Lego created a 6-foot, 6-inch tall version of Woody that weighs 80 pounds. An 80-pound Woody. I think I had that on my wedding night. JC's Video Village, the last day before we stick it into the archives. We go back to 1985. JC hanging out with Mr. Whipple, trying not to squeeze the Charmin. The Wayback Machine is a peculiar Keishi TV spot from 1985, and not necessarily the news this week involves Chris Carpenter. JC's Eye Candy, well, it's the weekend. What better thing could you have up than a video of a cat sitting in a glass vase swatting at a frustrated dog who's trying to attack it? That's your JC's Eye Candy today. Enjoy that. All right, coming up on Monday, we have our new weekly features, and also we'll deal with swingers, subway shops, and Santana. And since it is my job to screw with your head, just a reminder that today, Friday, June 25th, marks exactly 6 months until Christmas. Like I said, it's my job to screw with your head. All right, that's it. JC's Daily Dose for Friday, June 25th, 2010. A cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. Have a great weekend. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.